Hey everyone, it's John from the Blood Angels Commander channel. So today we're going to be checking out the Primaris Lieutenant that came in the Indomintus box. This guy's rocking a new Storm Shield, which is like adds 1 to your armor save, which gives him a 2+, and then the 4+ in Van. And he's also got I mean, it looks like he's got an Iron Halo, so like technically maybe that could even be his 4+ in Fun, but I don't think we're going to use the Iron Halo. We're going to try and do some converting as normal. And then he's got this Neo-volkite pistol, which is strength 5 with 2 damage. So yeah, an interesting model. I'm actually going to run him in a game, like it's going to be my first game of 9th. So yeah, we're going to try and do a bit of converting. It's not going to be the easiest because again it is one of these easy to build sprues. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so we're probably not going to need too much of the instructions for this guy, but I have them here anyway. So we start with C2 and C3, which will be the 2 large body parts. Also get out the base because it's a larger base and it's also got a hole in the base so that you can, I think there's a terrain piece or something with this guy. So let's start with the 2 body pieces as mentioned. Piece 1. Okay, and then I think they want you to put the helmet on at this point. Again, we're not going to do that. I like positioning the helmets afterwards. The sword looks like it needs to be placed on pretty early in the build, so we'll take off the sword. And then it's literally a backpack and the storm shield. So let's go ahead and clean these up, and I think it doesn't have you put them on the base until the very last step, but I feel like we can put them on the base once we've done. Once we've done the body, we'll just put them straight onto the base. It's quite a long bit of plastic. I had a look at the arms on this guy earlier, so the arms are going to be really tricky because both of them have like, they don't have a lot of clearance. So I mean, as a Blood Angels player, I guess the things that you can do to customize is heads, its wings, its sort of like blood skull / Aquila's. Probably don't need to take much off his foot because the foot will get glued to the base anyway. So we're just cleaning up any of the marks that we left when we snipped them off the model. Or sorry, snipped them off the sprue, may I say. And then it was just, I think there was just a connection on the hilt. So that's it really. So I think you're probably going to want to put him, these new holes in the bases are certainly interesting. So is it like he sits there, and I guess the idea is that this little skull thing, we'll take that off as well. It's like, I think it's just supposed to be like maybe it's even supposed to be a Necron skull. So the skull would fit in behind him. I mean, it seems a bit weird. Let me see what other bases. Yeah, the two larger bases that I have here both have the exact same configuration of holes. And you couldn't put him in that other hole because then his leg would be all off the platform. So I feel like there's only one way that you'll go. Right, let's see about getting this body together though. So yeah, we'll just put a tiny bit of glue on the edges. The great thing with poly cement is if you do manage to get on just tiny amounts, it will just melt the plastic together and you will almost not be able to tell that there was ever a join where where it goes together. That needs a lot of pressure to stick there. Okay, and then I guess the idea would be that the sword goes into this hole. Is that right? Doesn't the instructions just show you pushing the sword in? When the sword actually goes in, it doesn't necessarily show. I have a backpack that I found. It came off a Primaris Captain. It was like the game day, or the store birthday one. It's a slightly different connection on the back here. But I think it would work. Yeah, and then yeah, I think I'll have to. I think it'll work. It does mean that the purity seal is very close to the sword, but I think we can live with that. Maybe the sword's supposed to be angled down more. It felt like when I angled it down more, actually, it doesn't move as much. And the thing with these new easy to build ones, they are all push fit, so do you know what, we'll just put a bit of glue in that hole, or right on the edge of that hole. We'll stick the sword in, we'll angle it down where it doesn't move. And yeah, then I think that'll actually fit really nicely on the back there. So rather than use this one with Iron Halo, we'll use this one that came with the Primaris Captain from Game Day. So I'll just need to take a little bit. Again, he was sprayed, so I guess when I was making him, I think the reason that I didn't do that was because the Primaris Captain from Game Day, I tried to make him look a little bit like he was from the second edition box set, and the second edition box set obviously didn't have this shield on the backpack, so I just gave him a regular backpack and saved it for a rainy day. Same with all these boxes here, essentially saved for a rainy day. So I'm pleased with that, actually. So you'll get we'll just undercoat him again, I guess, so won't be a big deal. We'll try not to put too much onto his back, obviously. There's still a bit of paint left there, so just going to put a tiny bit more glue in, just because the poly cement doesn't stick to paint very well, if at all. And then that hole would go in, or that would go in that hole. So if he's going to stand like so, then I guess the question is where's this Necron head going to go? Which direction would you expect it to face? That's sort of facing backwards, so it would be like that. I'm not sure how to glue this very effectively. I'm just going to actually put the glue into the hole. I'm going to do it here as well. Yep, and then I'm going to put a bit of other glue on the soles of the feet. Do you know what, now that I see that Necron head's a bloody nightmare, because it's going to be facing forward, but he's got a cape that faces forward. So actually we're going to face the Necron head back the way. It's a bit weird actually that they would do that. Like, I would expect that hole to be on the front of the base. Yeah, that Necron head's going to make that. It's going to make painting that. What am I trying to say? It's going to make painting that foot in there an absolute nightmare. Yeah, I don't like that at all, actually. I don't know what to do now. Right, do you know what? Bear with me. Okay, sometimes Games Workshop, I guess, try to be too clever with these damn holes. We're gonna snip that whole connector off, it's not needed. It's just because it's easy build stuff, I guess. And probably have them at the back of the base. So this is a previously sprayed base, obviously. I don't remember exactly what this was for. But yeah, take off some of the paint so we can get a good contact. And this fancy base that is like mangled from the glue now. Oh well. And then this Necron head, which I like, I just didn't really, it didn't make any sense to put it where it was. Like it's basically hidden behind the model, and then also it was going to just make painting the back of that foot and getting around the foot. It was basically going to make it impossible because I wouldn't have been able to get the angle with the brush. So I'll just take off these little knobs or whatever that they've got that fit into the base. So just taking that right off. And yeah, do you know what? We'll have it a bit like the Terminator movie where he's walking forward and he's crushing the heads, because that's what my Blood Angels will do. They just crush the heads of Necrons. So a tiny bit of glue there. And get the Necron head on at the side there. Alright, I mean it looks absolutely fine. I mean, I guess it's push fit for new players, but yeah, okay, so I mean that's a ruined base, I guess. I suppose you could glue the bits that are snipped off into the holes, and I guess when you put the texture paint over it, you wouldn't really know it was you wouldn't really know it had these in there. So yeah, that's exactly what I'll do. Too much glue, but brilliant. So we used another base and got a base back, I guess. Don't know where I put my little bit of kitchen roll. I like having a little bit of kitchen roll to mop up extra glue. Let me grab another bit. It doesn't need to be much, so right. So at this point, I guess the question is, we've put on a different backpack. So we don't have the backpack, and we do have a. This isn't a normal Primaris helmet; it's kind of a different one. But there's also like a. These used to be the little shields that you got on the close combat Terminators. I guess Primaris characters are occasionally getting these now. And it says, I think you put the gun on first, and this is a unique gun, and this is a cool shoulder pad that's got like a skull and like a little ribbon on it, so because it's kind of unique, I'm fine putting it on. With these, if you check out my other videos for the Indomintus set, you'll see that we're working towards, like, we keep some of the identity of the Dominus models, and then we just Blood Angels them up a little bit, as much as we can without, well, in some of the other videos we really hacked some stuff apart. We're about to decide what we're going to do with this other arm, but I don't think hacking it apart is going to be an option. So let's get this gun arm on. That is not the easiest arm to put on, and it's gone and shifted the backpack. So it's probably a good thing that it shifted the backpack. It probably means the backpack wasn't on securely enough. Sometimes when you try and glue over, like I did try and file away some of the undercoat that I had on this. So it's best to just go in now and just use the knife, because the glue, if it didn't stick, then it'll have almost like melted away the undercoat. So we can rub a lot of it off, and I guess you can see there that now there should be a good connection now. I mean, I think this comes from like years ago. I used to do you know what? Sometimes I used to undercoat things in preparation, and for ease of painting. But I think as you get better at painting, you don't need to undercoat and paint in sub-assemblies. I mean, some people do, or maybe they get slightly better detail than I manage. But I'm happy enough with the quality of my painting. You guys will be able to check out. I'm going to put up some like armies on parade, because I've obviously painted half my army, and then I'll put up some of the new stuff we're working on as well. Okay, that was a really small bit. Again, so much glue, so even with the fine tip point nozzle that you get on these, still easy to put on too much glue. You really just need the tiniest bit, I guess. So we got the arm on, we got the shield on, we got the custom backpack on. So at this point, this is actually a cool head though, right? Like the head that it came with is like almost a, like I'd almost say that was a Death Company head. And I mean, it does have a little skull on the top of it, so it's a cool head. So we will keep it in the bag of heads. But from the bag of heads, I mean, I guess this is a bag of heads with a couple of Stormraven las cannons in it. And then over here, I need to organise these. There's another bag of half heads, and yeah, I mean, I could just organise them right now. We'll put the las cannons and the chain swords away, and shoulder pads. Bit of an unorthodox combo, but yeah, and a gun arm, I guess. So then it gives us an option. We've got heaps of heads here, what we could use. Could go with a beak head. I mean, the beak head actually looks kind of small, I guess. So maybe not beak. Maybe I'd like to put the beak on one of the assault intercessors that I was planning on doing. We could do a large. Well, this is interesting. Maybe not. Yeah, we could do one like this where it would be like a golden halo and a little blood drop on the top. That's definitely a contender. What other options do we have? So, on one of the bikers we used the wreath head the other night, so we probably won't use a wreath head tonight. I do have some scout heads on here. They look kind of ridiculous. Let's not go with that. Also have a chaplain with a hood head. You know, he doesn't look too bad. I mean, I think he maybe looks a bit Dark Angels over Blood Angels because of the hood, but the hood is an interesting option. Alright, so we've got the hood option. I don't know, I've been saving that. I've had that chaplain head for forever. I think I used his body to make a Smash Captain, because I'm trying to think. I don't think I own a Primaris chaplain, and I'm sure that's what the head is. And then I've got a bunch of regular Primaris heads. We're not going to use that. We actually have a head from a Intercessor as well, or it's an aggressor with sort of like the command, or sorry, the big breathing ports. Like he's a bit harder than regular ones. This guy is going to be a bit harder because of the storm shield. So, yeah, there's another beaky head. Okay, I really prefer helmets than I really prefer, what we're trying to say, I prefer helmets to unhelmeted. Alright, so we put these heads back in here. These are all, I mean, I guess this is the thing about Blood Angels, is it's pretty easy to customise just due to, hey, you have a million different heads. And because we've got two boxes here, box of Death Company, these were invaluable when I was doing the guys last night, and I think they're going to be invaluable again for their shoulder pads. Head-wise, the Death Company have a very cool little they have a very similar head with blood drops on it. So you can see this one in the very corner. It's like it's very similar to what was on his sheet. Just it's got blood drops along the sort of visor on it. We also have one with tiny little spikes. That's also kind of dope. And in the Sanguinary Guard box, a bunch of the Sanguinary Guard are like the death masks, right? Yeah, there's nothing that, I mean, maybe they've already been cannibalised a bit, so it's like, and I will have a quick look at the Vanguard Veteran box. I think there's only one sprue left in here, but yeah, it's got a beaky head with a wreath. Well, do you know what? We'll take that off because I don't have one of them in the box of heads. We'll have a look what that looks like. This is the other one that was interesting with the little spikes. So we'll have a look at that one as well. And that was like a smaller wreath. This is a beak with like a fancy eye targeting thing. We'll see what that beak looks like. And then, do you know what, we'll take off the jaw as well. Yeah, so I mean, I guess what I could... The boxes that have been winning so far is definitely the Death Company box. Like, I've pulled so many things out of this Death Company box. I got this box like 6 months ago when I was meaning to get the Death Company. Just the black takes me so long to paint. So, you know, I don't like that so much, because the blood drops are on the side. You'd probably want them to look like down the gun arm, so the blood drops would all be obscured, so that's probably a no-go. This one with the little spikes, see this? The little spikes is okay. And let's try the beak with the wreath, because he's a character, so you would think like a bunch of our characters wear wreaths, right? So by giving him a beak, we're saying he's an old school guy, but he's also Primaris. Maybe, do you know what, maybe he's gone through the Rubicon. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Do you know what, there's such a lip on him that the beak, there's such a lip on his armour that the beak is like not high enough up, I feel like, to make it look good. Like if I wanted to turn it to the side, it's just going to look terrible. Yeah, there's too much of a lip on the front of his armour for a beak to look good on this guy. So I guess that beak can be saved for the assault squad that we'll be doing next. So, and that didn't work. So it's either the little helmet, the little thing, the little spikes, or we finally use this this chaplain helmet, and I'm really leaning towards a chaplain helmet. Right, we're going to leave them and we're going to figure out this arm, because this arm's going to be the most tricky part. So you can see on the sprue, the arm, there's like a purity seal in here, and because of that, and the shoulder pad's like baked so hard into the arm, like there's no distance between them. So the trick that we did the other night, which was literally cut the existing shoulder pad off, or just basically start filing it away to get it to fit into another shoulder pad, like I just think it's not going to work. I'm going to take the arm off anyway so we can have a look at it. But I did recently build a squad of Reavers, and the great thing about the Reaver squad is it came with a lot of extra arms, and I'm not entirely sure, maybe someone in the comments can tell me, but I feel like regular marine arms are not always quite as long as Primaris. Like there might not be much in it, but I feel like there's maybe a slight difference. I know when Games Workshop officially like announced the Primaris Marines, they said that the shoulders and the helmets were interchangeable, right? And that has been pretty true to form. I mean, in some ways, probably hands are interchangeable, but I mean, if you're talking about hands being interchangeable, there's not that many sprues that come with hands. If you do need hands, then one of the sprues that does include hands is the Sanguinary Guard, because they're arms, they're assault bolters. They have the things separate, the hands separate. So we could go the way that we did the other night. So what we did the other night is we found a little wing thing from the Death Company box, and we managed to attach it to the shoulder pad for 3 of the bikes. Yeah, I think all 3 bikers got one of those wing accents. And I don't want to push this too far on. It's a really long contact as well. That backpack's still not 100% on there, you know that? You can feel it moving as I move around it. The damn spray is probably, I should have tried to maybe file it off more. Right. So I kind of want to see how it's supposed to fit, right? Like, so his arm fits on the shield. There's not much clearance there at all, and then yeah, I'm not sure the angle to get it to fit in. They already had the old backpack glued on, so I feel like it shouldn't be messing with the old backpack, but I feel like it is a bit. Okay, so it's sort of an up and down, and his arm just comes past his sword. I mean, I guess that makes sense because the sword would otherwise be in the way. Just try and get some of that extra glue that's like leaking in there now from putting on this extra. There. Okay, so here are the Reaver arms that I had before. Now, they are reasonably short and there isn't really a straight one except maybe this guy's arm who's holding a sword. Maybe there's an angle. And maybe we can just snip the sword off. See how this would connect. I mean, these guys are, I'm not using them in any way, shape or form, so it would be fine. And then that arm actually looks promising. Shield might not be upright. I think that's what this one is. Like the shield will be upright. But you know what, that is actually a similar, that is a similar pose. It's got no hand though, but do you know what, maybe I could snip off the connector here. It's going to be tricky, but it wouldn't be a good video if it wasn't tricky, right? So we'll take one of these old Reaver arms. Just quickly get the snip marks off. This one's got a bit of a mould line on it as well, but I'll just do the very quickest on it. I don't usually care too much with mould lines. I feel like when you paint them you really can't see them, so and then I'm going to have to take this connector off. It'll mean that I've sort of passed the point of no return now, right? So his arm there could go round the sword. It's not going to be very easy to paint. I mean, that's not going to be very easy to paint either because it's like super flush. Like I actually think that they have a nook in here, like the tiniest little nook that just like goes round the sword. Like, yeah, because that's going to be, yeah. I mean, you can see it, right? Like, look how close it is to the sword there. Like, ugh, is all I'm going to say to that. So if I put this Reaver arm on, which also just goes around the sword by not much, if I did snip that bit off and connect the hand that connects to the shield, yeah, we'll try it. So like I said when I was doing this the other night, the trick is to not cut exactly where you want to snip. So cut a bit away. Yeah, so we're super committed to this now that we've destroyed him. Destroyed his arm. And then once you get going, it's easier to get smaller pieces off. So try and work sort of close to where you want it to be. So we literally just have his hand in a bit of the connecting arm there. So we try and, this is going to be difficult to file because it's so small. try and like flatten it out a bit. And then there's a connector bit on the top here. It must have been like if this guy had a gun or something. So we'll take that off as well. And then I'm thinking it's going to be easier to... It's probably going to be easier to connect this in there and get the pressure that I need to push it fully into the hole, then glue the other arm bit to it. I hope this is the right call, but I don't really see any other option, because once we put this in here and glue it, it ain't coming off. So we'll have a harn, as they say in Scotland, a han. We don't say hand, we just say han. We drop the D for whatever reason. We'll have a han attached to the shield and no more. So hopefully you can see the hand just attached to the shield, and then we're going to try and glue this arm to that hand. And try and take off a little bit, because I think like when you cut it, the plastic essentially gets distressed and goes white, but it also gets misshapen. So I think maybe they always have like a wrist guard like that, right? And I guess this bit, because it was all getting cut at, has gone a little bit soft and squidgy maybe. So that will do it, I think, and then hopefully yeah, this is going to be difficult to get stuck. I think what I'm going to do is going to file a little bit of the shield here. So I can almost like have the arm not just attached to the hand, but it can also attach to the shield. I mean, it's going to be pretty flush, so you would never be able to paint behind that anyway. But that might just give it a little bit more contact. Sometimes when you're doing this, I feel like this bit needs flattened more still. What we'll do is we're just going to try and get it to stick, and then we'll worry about cleaning up the mess of extra glue afterwards. Okay. Right, it was worth a shot, but I'm not confident. So in this case, this is when we go to a box that I don't have in here. Again, bear with me. Right, so hopefully, perfect. Got some paper clips. What we have here is an actual hand drill. So this drill was bought off Amazon for about £7 or £8. I mean, I know Games Workshop sell one, but I think it's like 20. So you decide which one you want to buy. So I actually do this with paper clips as well. So I've got some paper clips here. So we're just going to need the tiniest bit of a paper clip. So hopefully you can see it's a paper clip. So we're just going to snip off maybe like that's maybe even too much, half a centimetre. Perfect. And then we need a drill bit that's going to be big enough for a paper clip to, so this one is slightly bigger than the paper clip, so that's going to be perfect. So very much like a normal drill, you would put it in and then you would sort of tighten it. You can see now that it will spin. Oh, can't pick those up off the paper. Right, so we're gonna try and make a little hole in this hand. And so we need to be quite close to the back because can't see it, there's too much. There's too much like shredded plastic and glue at the moment. Excuse me. Alright, there's now the tiniest little hole in the hand. I'd never used one of these till recently, and I mean they are very, very handy pieces of kit to have. And then we want to try and make a similar hole in the middle of this shoulder. Ugh. This isn't flat enough, I think. I'm struggling to find the middle point. I'm struggling to get the drill to stay in the middle while I drill. What we'll maybe try and do is make a tiny little hole with the knife in the middle, and then maybe the drill will sit nicely in the middle. That is definitely not the middle. I'm wondering if I should. I'm going to try again at another point. So that's going to be the edge that's touching. Right, do you know what? We'll commit to this one. If it doesn't work, then it's not like this is the only arm we can try it with. Right, we are actually quite deep into this arm now, good. Question is, will the paper clip go into the arm? The answer is yes. Push it in as far as it'll go. Okay. I don't think it needs to be that long. I mean, it's reasonably long right now, so we'll just try and take a bit more of it off. Again, when you're doing this, don't look directly at it. If a little bit of plastic or paper clip goes flying, could like definitely damage your eye or something. Alright, so now we have the arm with a tiny bit of paper clip, and I'm hoping that that paperclip will line up with what we were doing here. I feel like it will now. I feel like the hole on this needs to be the tiniest bit deeper. Well, I didn't know I was going to have to use the drill on this one. So, in some ways, if you haven't seen a drill bit before, then I guess now you know how it works. It's very simple. Might be daunting the first time you do it, but overall it's fairly simple. So yeah, okay, it's pretty much perfect. So what I'm going to try and do now then is trying to decide if I want to use poly cement or if I want to use super glue. If I use poly cement, it won't stick to the metal paperclip, so I think it's going to be better to use super glue. Okay, so this is an older tub of Gorilla Glue, but this stuff, the gel Gorilla Glue, is like, it's so good. It'll stick anything. You can use it for DIY, you can use it for modelling. I think I used most of this tub on the Forge World tank that I've got. Okay, so I'm going to try and get this super glue. Yeah. So yeah, that's how you use drill bit. Pretty simple, and yeah, I highly recommend getting one. If you want to do some sort of mad conversions like this, then oh, excuse me, that's dinner coming back on me. So this is going to be really tricky with the glue, because we're going to have to try and get the tiniest bit of glue well, yeah, I don't know which way is going to be best. I think I'm going to try and put the glue into the hand. Or if I just put the glue on the end of the hand, because I really don't want to end up gluing my fingers together, because that's all too easy with this stuff. Like I said, it's really good glue. And because it's gel. Alright, just come on. Yeah, there's like no way I'm getting. I feel like there's no way I'm not getting it on my fingers. But like that's stuck in like 2 seconds flat, you know that. I want to get a tiny bit on this bit as well. Alright, so we've got the paper clip into the hand, and we've got some glue in there with it, I believe. I got a tiny bit on me, I think. And then what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to put a tiny bit of poly cement on the joint now. Just the tiniest bit if I can. and that'll hopefully melt that joint together. Right, we'll put the drill away. And now we can have fun picking both the shoulder pad and finally figuring out which helmet this guy's going to wear. So, where there's a will, there's a way, I guess, is the moral of the story. I'm just going to dab off any excess gel glue if I can. So, there's a reaver arm converted, so we don't have to mess around anymore with and that actually feels really solid. So it's going to look a little bit different from what he would be looking like if he was just, if he had the actual regular arm. But do you know what, after realising how flush that regular arm was to the sword, I'm kind of okay with this. Ah, bollocks. Alright, I might need to leave that for 20 minutes. Take the glue off that. Alright, yeah, we're going to leave this for 20 minutes. Don't have much choice. It's so fiddly that it really needs just time to set before we go any further. Okay. Okay, we'll leave that for 20 minutes, let's set. Okay, we're back, and that stalled us quite a bit longer than I'd hoped, but I mean, I guess it was a good 20 minutes, maybe even slightly more. I mean, so our arm is now glued, so it's going to be a case of trying to find a nice contact point for the shield. I think we've got one. I think this is actually slightly further away. I mean, the sword's still going to be a real pain to paint, like there's no two ways about it. That is not going to be an easy sword to paint. But when we have the shield down, I mean, on the model in the picture, the shield is up much more. Do you know what, we can maybe get away with turning it up a little bit. Yeah, so maybe it's going to be like that. Still think that's going to be decent. So now, I kept out the Blood Angels Death Company sprue because did I keep out the Death Company sprue? Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know what that. Oh, that's a Vanguard veteran. Alright, so that's in the wrong box. Never mind. We'll fix that. So, we kept out the Death Company sprue with the shoulder pads because you get a lot of nice options. There's one with a really nice skull with a blood drop on the top of it. It's still going to be very close. But I think that the arm that we bend had sort of like one of these rims on it. So this one has a blood drop on it, and it has a rim, and it actually says sanguineous as well. And you can, if you paint really delicately, you can almost pick out the letters with like a gold, and it can look quite cool. And the blood drop obviously is quite big. So this one actually gives us some nice few tones, and it doesn't stick out the sides too much. So we'll just clean it up and see. We'll try and place it very gently on that shoulder. And the answer is no, it does stick out a little bit too on the sides. Okay. Because I was originally thinking that we'd do one with the wings, but yeah, I mean, I guess the way that the backpack is sat, it's going to be hard. So basically anyone that sticks out at the bottom is going to be a problem. So we'll try, I've got this one where the wings stick out at the top, we'll try it next. So yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to do customizations with the Blood Angels, honestly, when I was thinking about this before I did the video, I was thinking like, oh, the Sanguinary Guard are going to be, they're going to have so many cool options. And I mean, while they kind of do have cool options, doing the Death Company seems to have the most choices for shoulder pads and stuff. Okay, so this shoulder would sit quite nicely, I think. It'll cover the arm well enough. If they aren't touching the backpack, they're very, very close to it. I think they're too close to it. Third time lucky, maybe. I mean, what did I just say? The Sanguinary Guard wouldn't have options. Well, do you know what? There would be one option with the Sanguinary Guard, and that would be an actual feather shoulder, which I just happen to have here. But then the feather shoulder struggles to go down because the shield is so close. So yeah, I mean, I've kind of, it was always going to be quite a tough conversion, I guess, just because where everything sat. But I really wanted to get some sort of Blood Angel shoulder onto this guy. I've got one here which is again, it's the top, so there's a little bit more clearance at the top. And it's kind of like a rim. Just going to try and clean that off a little bit. Nope. So I think that's like 4 different ones with rims tried. Try one with little spikes. We've got one here that's got the tiniest little spikes. Do you know what? I think we'll go with that. It fits. It's nice to have some sort of little accent regardless how small it is. So I'll just clean that off. Just a little drop of glue. Great, and I'm going to put a tiny bit more glue in there just because it was the contact. I'm not entirely sure where it's sitting on because it's just hard to see because it is just like a complete conversion at this point. There's still a tiny bit of broken plastic or badly snipped plastic here, just want rid of as well. So I think that's that. So yeah, we've got the shield on then. We've got on the Blood Angel shoulder pad that took longer than expected. I mean, I guess if you look inside, hopefully it doesn't look too much of a mess where that extra arm is. Or, sorry, where that new replacement arm is. I think when we spray it we won't see it. And then, yeah, I mean, I stuck the Necron on the bottom as well. So, at this point then, I mean, this is a cool backpack, Primaris backpack, so we'll definitely put that into the box of bits. That'll be useful another day. And this Death Company sprue once again comes to the rescue. So I'd almost say if you're gonna be doing a lot of Primaris and you're on a budget, get Death Company sprue. I mean, that's the first 4 guys done, and every single one of them has been able to use some form of Death Company pieces. This one was all. I think, yeah, this one was the one I was starting to put shoulders into. I mean, just as we say that, I just found a smaller shield we could have used, but I kind of like the big shield on this guy. Maybe on doing. I think I'm hopefully trading some of the Necrons for more Marines. So maybe on some of the other Blade Guards we'll use smaller shields or like actual storm shields. So we just put those little spikes on the shoulder. So I feel like the spikes on the headpiece kind of match now. But I'm still tempted to do this hood just because it's not something I've done before, I guess. So it would really look quite unique, I guess, with the hooded headpiece. You know, I guess you guys can let me know in the comments. I really had the idea that we would do these guys all. You know, like he's wearing this cloak thing down the front. And normally, I mean, I would paint that cloak thing, I guess I would paint it sort of parchment colour. But maybe in here, in the centre, and the cloak, maybe we'll do that all grey and then give him grey over the top, and then we could put like a Nuln Oil wash on that coat and he could be a little bit different. I mean, when I was seeing him I was kind of thinking that he might be a little bit different, you know, because he's more of a, like, he's got this gun that's almost like a Horus Heresy gun, and he's got the giant shield. So this will be a real interesting one to paint. But yeah, I think we're gonna go with with the hood. So because the hood's already been sprayed, I'm just going to take some of the paint off the underside of it so that it'll stick better. Just means because he's already been sprayed white, we'll just be very gentle when we're doing the undercoat on him. But I mean, saying that, you know, like I have models where I have undercoated them, let's say black, and then gone with a gold over the top, and that's usually worked pretty well. So I don't foresee there being any real problem with putting a second coat of, I think it's going to be white on here. I mean, there's a small part of me that thinks he might look cool gold. I think we're going to go with the red and the grey. So, yeah, I'm actually really pleased how he turned out. So, I mean, the only real customization we did with him after all that was we put him on a different base. Most of the work was done on this arm, getting on the all just to get on a Blood Angel's shoulder pad and slightly different backpack. But yeah, I think when he sprays, he will turn up very cool. And then I guess the Necron thing we put in front because I wasn't really happy with where it sat. So yeah, finally got a use for that helmet, because I've had that helmet I think since the beginning of 8th edition, so at this point it's probably like the best part of 2 years. So yeah, hopefully this guy works well on the battlefield. I will find out in less than a week, because I'm playing my first game of 9th. Maybe I'll take a little video of like the army I'm using for my first game. It's going to be a very unpainted army because everything's changed with 9th, but I will get round to painting it. I try and do a little bit of painting every couple of days, and then just, yeah. Cool. Alright, so thanks for tuning in, and yeah, we're going to cut now to him once he's been sprayed. So yeah, we also sprayed our Primaris Lieutenant. Sprayed him white because I think the front of the shield will be white, and that'll be difficult to go over if it's not coated in white. I coat a lot of my guys in white, so you'll see how I get my red, because I get a very vibrant red. But what did we do with this guy? Yeah, we changed the shield arm completely out, and I don't really think you can... It's not noticeable that it's been changed out anyway. The helmet looks pretty cool. The backpack... Oh, and we added this little blemish, little blood drop from one of the other boxes that we have. I think it was a Sanguinary Guard, but it could have been Vanguard Veterans. So he's turned out really nicely as well.